Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hello.
Welcome to episode 5 of Awareness is Key, and welcome to the table. We're going to have some conversation tonight about sexual violence. We started the topic last week. Sexual violence in a domestic relationship or in an intimate partner relationship. So, Heather, and we have Lily tonight. Daniel is taking a break. So, welcome, everybody.
Hello,
Um,
hello.
Lily all smiles over there.
Hello.
So, we're going to get started, but of course, we're going to go ahead and add a trigger warning. This can be and probably will be triggering for some people. So, if you're not ready to hear it, now's your chance to probably back out for right now until you're ready. Okay. We do believe that education and awareness is the key to prevention. So that is where you get awareness is key. So I think we've got a slideshow, really, that we're going to get started with,
Yes.
where we're going to define some of the basics of sexual violence in an intimate partner relationship. So, and Heather, I think me and you are going to kind of read these, or you and I.
Sure. Whatever.
You want to go ahead and start the first because I think you want to expand on this one just a little bit.
Sure. Intimate partner sexual assault and rape are used to intimidate, control, and demean victims and survivors of domestic violence. And I just wanted to add to that, too, that sexual abuse is really any behavior that pressures or coerces someone to do something sexually they don't want to do.
Yeah, and we're definitely going to get into what some of these different types of sexual violence are later on through this live. Lily, did you want to add anything at this point?
No, thank you.
All right, we can go on to the next one. Intimate partner sexual assault is more likely than stranger or acquaintance assault to cause physical injury. When you look at that, you know, sorry. When I look at that really you hear about stranger or acquaintance assault a lot, but I don't think that we talk enough about how this can happen in an intimate partner relationship.
Yeah.
Sexual assault in these relationships, sexual violence absolutely happens.
Yeah.
So, and we're going to expand on all of this as we go through the next little bit. So,
Yep. Between 14% and 25% of women are sexually assaulted by intimate partners during the relationship.
let me add on to this one while we're sitting here and before I forget this. And we had just talked about the fact this says between 14 and 25% of women are sexually assaulted. Men can be sexually assaulted in a relationship as well. And we
Yes.
also have to talk, we're speaking in this particular slide about heterosexual relationships, but opposite sex partner relationships, you know, the statistics are pretty much the same. So it's not necessarily who the partners are. You're going to see pretty much the same number.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah. Do you want me to take that one? Between 40% and 45% of women in abusive relationships will also be sexually assaulted during the course of the relationship.
wow, so it escalates. I mean, if they're going
Mm-hmm.
any other form of violence in that relationship, there's a I mean 40 to 45% of them are going to escalate to violence.
Yeah.
Over half of women raped by an intimate partner were sexually assaulted multiple times by the same partner.
Well,
Yeah. So, and again, the information in these slides was found on the National Coalition Against Domestic Violence website at ncadv.org. So let's take a minute.
Hello, Miss Rachel. Thanks for joining us.
Oh, I'm back. So
I was just saying, I think we lost Valerie.
fade it out. Y'all got it. You all can, cover it. So did we say hey to Rachel?
yes.
Yes,
Heather
I
did.
did.
Hey again. All right. So I think the what we're going to get into is the different types of sexual violence in a domestic violence or intimate partner violence relationship. Does that sound good?
Mhm.
All right.
Yep.
Heather, you've got some information on that, and Lily, you can chime in with yours as well.
Okay.
So Heather, you want to start us out?
Sure. And I wanted to kind of reiterate the fact that when we talk about sexual violence, we're talking about behavior that pressures or coerces you to do something that you don't want to do. So we're not talking about things that in your relationship you both have mutually agreed that this is something you want in the relationship as far as your sexual relationship. So this is talking about the pressure or coercion to do something that you do not want to do and you have not agreed on and consented to. So I just wanted to clear that up. It can look like nonstop pressure, constantly accusing you of having affairs, bragging about having affairs, fondling, holding you down playfully. I was just wrestling so that they can touch you in places you don't want to be touched. Engaging in sex acts with someone who's not able to give a clear yes or no. So someone that may be intoxicated or somebody that may have been drugged. And you all stop me at any time if you want to add anything.
Lily, I think you had something. Oh, I'm sorry. On
Yeah, go
the
ahead.
being the drugged, I think Lily had something about that as well, didn't you, Lily?
Yes. And it was about facilitating drugs to a victim to perpetrate sexual assault.
So basically, you know, the perpetrator drugs the victim. I mean, in order to have, it's all about control. So,
Exactly.
Can you all, sorry to interrupt you all. Can you all hear me clearly? Because you're both freezing up on me and cutting in and out. So I was just trying to decide if it was my connection or yours.
I think it's all of ours, honestly. Lily's probably got a perfect connection over there. I know that
Hopefully.
I get on here. Rachel says she can hear you, Heather. So,
Okay. Thanks.
yeah, you're welcome. Go ahead.
Did we lose Lily?
No, I'm here.
She's just sitting still.
Okay. Your face. She's just, okay, there she goes. She's back. Let's see. On unwanted touching or kissing. I know you have to love technology. Unwanted touching or kissing. Here's another one: forced pregnancy, like refusing to use birth control, or purposeful pregnancy on the girl side of things, or forcing to have an abortion.
Can I stop you on that? Um,
Yeah, I was going to stop because I knew you had something you wanted to add there.
Well, what I was actually, it wasn't really what I wanted to add. Well, it kind of is, I guess. But what about tampering with like birth control? I mean, that definitely falls into that forced pregnancy, right? I mean, a guy that would, tamper with, and I'm sure it happens, with the form of protection that they're using.
Mm-hmm.
So I just wanted to throw that in there.
Good point.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
Sorry, my connection is kind of going in and out, so I'm catching bits and pieces of what you're saying.
I mean, just messing with someone's reproductive health is basically what this is. I mean, it's
Yeah.
again control.
Yeah. Exactly.
Okay, let's answer this question from
Okay.
Rachel. So in sexual violence, is it holding you down and forcing you to have sex or choke you?
Yes.
Because the key word there, or there should be, you've got the word force in there. And I think
Mm-hmm.
the word force is in there. That is sexual violence. I
And
mean,
Yeah.
holding. And
yep.
holding.
Now
Holding
some
you
people,
down. Yeah.
I think there definitely is a difference between rough sex, where it's mutually consented to, and the
Right.
holding you and forcing you. No one has a right to force anyone to have sex or to do anything with their body they don't want to do. So I mean, I don't know if that answered that, Rachel. Do y'all have anything to add to that I didn't?
And that is
I
one,
mean, and that kind
that's a
of.
point.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, do what now, Heather?
Well, and that crosses.
You cut out.
Are you both there? Am I?
Hey,
So,
right.
Rachel, can you hear all of us at this point? Can you hear me, Valerie, and Lily? Since because they are frozen on my screen, and
We're
Well,
here. And
Heather,
she said yes.
okay, good deal. So it's just something with my connection because I'm getting the bleep, bleep when
the
we're
rope.
talking. So,
Okay. All right, go ahead, Heather.
okay, so withholding sex or affection, and again, if you want to elaborate on that, Valerie, you can.
Yeah, I mean, there is a
As far
difference.
as
I'm sorry. There's a difference between having a legitimate reason not to do it. I mean, I've got a headache, I'm tired, I don't feel well. There's a lot of reasons to legitimately not, oh, did we lose Heather? To legitimately not want to do it. Um, but it's when you purposefully do it as a form of control that it's not all right. That is sexual violence. You're using sex as a means of control.
Exactly. Exactly.
Let's see, Heather, let's let her back. There you are. So I elaborated
hi, I
on.
was hoping that would fix my connection so I could actually hear a full sentence of what you all were saying. Sorry.
Yeah, no, you're fine. I elaborated on that one of, as far as it's any, I mean, if you're withholding sex as a form of control, that falls into the sexual violence. I mean, it's not for legitimate reason. It is
Right.
you're doing it for the control, the upper hand,
Mm-hmm.
punishment.
Yeah,
All right.
absolutely. Bringing other partners home, and again, we're going back to that. This is not when you both consent to doing something. This is being forced on you, and you don't consent. You don't want this. Bringing other partners home and expecting you to participate. Incest, molesting, unwanted sexual comments, groping. And I think this is a big one now with the technology we have is taking pictures or videos that you don't want taken. I think that's a really big problem right
Right.
now. I mean, and that goes along with pornography and all of those things as well.
Well, and I think we see that a lot with our youth.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of, once pictures are there, once someone is able to take that picture,
Yeah.
they can and do use it you in a lot of cases. Not saying everybody does that, but
Right.
if you break up, if they threaten, I'm going to put it out there, your whole family's going to see it, or the whole internet's going to see it, and
Mm-hmm.
is meant, that goes along with coercion. It's meant
Yeah.
to coerce them into doing whatever the perpetrator is telling them they need to do or they
Exactly.
want
Right.
them.
Yep.
So a lesson to
Um,
the youth is, especially to our youth, don't take these pictures. Don't let
no.
each have those pictures of you.
And just to mention, sometimes these young girls don't even know that they're taking pictures. They just say, "This is for me personally because I love you so much."
Mhm.
But
Mm,
this one
Yes.
is just for us. But it's in an iPhone, it's in a tablet, it's in an Android phone, it's in technology. So it does get
Yeah.
out there, especially if there's a breakup
yep.
or there's a moment of
Yeah.
anger or separation. That can really cause a lot of damage, not only um, to the perpetrator, but to a family,
Yes.
um, to the
Mhm.
victim. So,
Yeah.
because a perpetrator could say, "Oh no, they wanted it, they
Right.
permitted me," but it sometimes it's not true. They can lie
Yeah.
about it, but it's not true. So those, if you're with someone, there should be no technology around you.
No.
That's absolutely true. But
Yeah.
unfortunately, it's going to happen.
It
And
does.
Mhm.
just your warning right now, if someone has those pictures of you that you're in a relationship with, understand that they can be used as a weapon. You,
Mhm.
And
you
a
know,
very costly one.
And
yes,
then, well, and unfortunately, there are websites out there that are getting away with allowing people to upload content, pictures, videos, and stuff. And because it's a third party, then there's no consequence. They can't be prosecuted for what's being shown.
right.
And just in the cases that I know of, where girls have struggled to get things taken down, and even if they get taken down, eventually they get put back up. So yeah, just reiterating what you all were saying is just don't let them take pictures if you can. Stop
Yep.
that.
Because here's the thing, they may take the picture and you may think that's the only copy. By the time it hits the internet or by the time they text it to someone, there's now another
Yeah.
copy and there's another copy. And it's like a wildfire, it's spread.
Hmm.
So, but yeah, just use extra caution with that. And oh, I'm speaking to our youth right now because I'm the mom of adult kids now, but I know this has been an issue for a long time. So,
Yeah.
And we have Rachel that's online with us,
uh huh,
and she just said that she just had her court hearing on Tuesday, and she won her case because she
Oh,
was seriously abused and badly beaten. So
yay! I'm glad she
I'm
won.
so glad.
yes,
I am too. I am
Yeah.
too, because it can go either way. That's awesome. I'm so glad. I'm so sorry that you went through that, but I'm so
that you
glad
had
that
to
you
go
won your
through that.
case.
And we
Hmm.
thank you for
Yeah.
being here, Rachel, because I think you've actually been here for every episode so far. So,
Yeah.
From the beginning.
thank you so much for being here. And I know that people, before we go on, we don't have a whole lot of viewers right now. If you come in here and you watch it on replay, please go ahead and interact with the video. Let us know you're here. Let us know you're watching it.
Hmm.
It drives the algorithm, and hopefully we'll get this video out to more people. So Rachel says it was very hard. I'm sure it was.
I'm sure. But how, I don't know. It's just the fact that you were brave enough to report it and to go after that. That's huge. That is so brave to be able to do that.
So now, Rachel, I know, Heather, when we first started this, the very first episode, you actually said, I'm not just a survivor, I'm a thriver. So,
Hmm.
now hopefully we're gonna join that same thriver club with you. So,
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
all
It
right.
takes time. Yeah. So, do we want to talk about this coercion thing? Because I know we've talked about physical holding down, pinning people down and physically holding people against their will. But the coercion side of thing is the use of non-physical strategies and tactics to get
Yeah.
what you want, to get control.
Lily, before we move on, do you have anything that you wanted to add to the list that Heather's already went through as far as the physical part?
Yeah.
Nope, she's covered it all. And that was very good.
All
Our
right.
notes are matching.
Y'all been looking at the same sites. Oh wait, it's the Katie Key book. That's
Nope,
right.
I didn't even go to the Katie Key book.
Um, all right, so yeah, let's talk about the coercive techniques, and what that looks like.
And I tend to start out with all the negative things, but let's start on the positive side of things, because not all coercion comes in nasty words or everything. It may be compliments like, "Oh, you're so beautiful, and I just want to be with you," or just things like, "It would be good for the relationship, make us more committed to one another if we were together," or just, I love you and I know you love me. And so just using more positive things. It doesn't always have to come in a negative form.
So that's like the love bombing, almost. I mean, that could
Yeah.
fall that. Yeah, just all lovey dovey. Here, everything's unicorns and glitter. I mean, I love you, kisses. So, okay.
So then there's the other side of that would be just pressuring you, like guilting you into it and shaming you for not doing it. If you don't have sex, I'll find it somewhere else. If you're not going to give it to me, or, "Oh, you're so frigid," or whatever, I'm just helping you not be so cold hearted, and just trying to get you to feel sorry for them, and pouting, lying to you, blaming you, or blaming it on stress or temptations to do other things like infidelity or pornography usage, or those kinds of things. Do y'all want to add anything to that so
Or
far?
not understanding them.
One thing that jumps out at me is, and you always, when you watch any kind of movie or any kind of show that portrays this, it's always, well, if you love me, you would do it. If you love
Yeah.
me, I
Yeah.
mean, you don't have to have sex with somebody to show them love if you don't want to, but they're using that. If you love me.
Well, that makes me think of something else too, that you said, that is, it doesn't matter if you have had sex with somebody before or done something sexual with them. You still have the right to say no later. It doesn't matter what you've done in the past. You still have the right to say no and change your mind about the things you've done. It just doesn't matter.
Absolutely. You don't enter into a contract with somebody, I mean, it's not like, well, just like you said, you have a right to say no. Plus, even when the act starts, you have
Yes.
a right to stop it, to say no, say stop. And that should be
Yep.
respected. I mean, it absolutely should be respected. And if somebody does not respect the word no and stop,
Yeah.
there you
Yeah.
It's about force, it's about control.
Exactly. And that goes into ignoring your request to stop, making verbal threats towards you, um, trying to get you drunk or drug you, those kinds of things, so that you are less likely to say no, or to give in. Just trying to think. Anything else y'all can think of off the top of your head?
Well,
Somebody that's
and we wanted to say too that men and boys face some challenges
Yes.
because of the social attitudes and the stereotypes. So
Mhm.
it's not only women and girls, men and boys
No.
face these same realities, which is sad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and men and boys don't report it because of the stigma attached to it. Their
Mhm.
masculinity is called into question.
Mhm.
I mean, they really. There, I would be interested to really truly know, and we never will, the
Mhm.
actual statistics on males and young men that are sexually assaulted in relationships. That are even
Yeah.
not just sexually assaulted, any type of domestic violence. Those numbers are not accurate, what we. what we know. So, they're definitely not, because people don't report typically.
And unfortunately, as an organization, we have housed many, many men and their children because of domestic violence.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but any others? Coercion, or the kind of the mental game?
I think that, yeah,
How
that's
about
a
if
lot
we
of
look
it.
at the warning signs?
Do you all
Okay.
think that there's warning signs where it is escalating? I mean, where, if you're in the relationship, what do you all think? Do you think that there's some signs that somebody in that relationship would see that it could be headed towards, going to the level of the sexual violence? And I know it's not going to be in every relationship, because, some people start out and it's an automatic thing. So what do you think?
Well, when we look at the warning signs, being extremely jealous is
Yeah.
is a big red flag.
Mhm.
Constantly calling, and yes, I guess when I say this, it's not only in the sexual, but in general on
Yeah,
domestic
Yeah.
violence.
that that again, the control part of it. Where are you? What are you doing?
Hmm.
Man or woman, whatever the case
Mhm.
be. I know you're out doing that.
And that
What else you
jealousy
got,
can
Lily
bring
or Heather?
that sexual violence
Mhm.
to occur, because then that person now says they're jealous. They see the red flag, but now they can't convince them that nothing is really happening, because now that person already has it in their mind. It's already set there. So how do you tell someone that already has something in their mind, no, it's not true, it's in your mind? And that's another issue.
Right. Right.
Would you ever, I mean, I think once somebody has absolutely made up their mind, and especially if they are a perpetrator in the situation, they've already got it in their mind that they know everything, because they control you. They know what you're doing, even though they don't know
Exactly.
what, you know. So
Exactly.
Well, and I like, well, I don't like anything about abuse, but I like this, that abuse is fueled by entitlement. So it's saying my needs and my desires are the priority, and it's your job to make me happy. I mean, that's the bottom line, right?
yeah,
So
What
when
it
it comes
comes
to
down
sexual
to.
abuse, do they not?
Mhm.
Yeah, they love their own pleasures more. I'm trying to think of how to word that. They love themselves and what they're desiring to such a degree that they would be willing to harm somebody else to be satisfied.
Right. And that's unrealistic expectations,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
because the abuser expects that the partner to meet all those requirements.
Yeah.
Even though they're
So,
not meeting them themselves, I mean,
Exactly.
right.
the there's no abusive relationship. There is no give and take. It's all take.
Yeah.
It's all
Oh,
take.
yeah.
I mean, what can I take from you today? Because whatever I take, that is my control over you.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. If you love me, that's all you need. You don't need anything more.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So what about these statements? What do y'all think about these statements that women, I think, get told a lot of times, and we kind of, is that men need sex, so it's your duty to take care of that. Do you all feel like that's a true statement, that that's a reason why you should have to give in at no matter what?
No, and I'll be completely honest with you. I mean, they say the same thing about cooking and cleaning. I don't eat the food alone, and I don't make the mess alone. It's a mutual relationship. That's my thoughts on it.
Yeah.
I mean, no, a man should not. It's not our duty to serve them in that form. That's just my opinion.
Um, what about this? I know this kind of gets on the spiritual side of things, but I do think it's important because the word can be twisted in order to, maybe not intentionally, but what about withholding sex is always a sin? Because there's a verse out there that basically is saying that your body is no longer your body when you're married, and his body is no longer his body, and that you all should have access to it. Do you believe that that's a true statement?
No means no. I mean, Lily, you got a view on this. I know what is your thought?
I right now I don't want to comment.
Okay, well, I will. I will go ahead
That's okay.
and put this in for you. You know, I really believe that, yes, I know that the Bible does say that you should submit, or that a woman submits to a man, but I honestly do not believe that that is what I don't ever believe that God, or the God of your understanding, would say, let somebody traumatize you
Yeah,
for the
force you.
I mean, you know, I believe that God gave me a voice, God gave me a mouth, with the expectation that I could say no to that. That's just my so.
Yeah.
I believe
And
it's
I think it
false.
goes both ways. Well, here's another one. Can rape happen in marriage?
Yes, it can.
No
Because I know,
means
yeah.
Yes.
What else?
I feel like
Sorry, you cut out again and I couldn't hear you.
I feel like I'm on Jeopardy. Should I put this in the form of a question though when I answer?
No doubt. No doubt. So, do you think, what are some signs, or do y'all want to talk about some signs that maybe somebody's being um, sexually
An
abused?
outsider, maybe an outsider looking in. Let's
Is
talk
that
about some of those
Yeah.
signs that an outsider could be seen.
okay?
Yeah.
So I definitely, and I'm going to throw this one in there because it's the same in every form of abuse, and that's the isolation. If you have friends or family that starts pulling away from you, doesn't
Yes,
necessarily mean they're being abused, but it definitely is a red flag to start keeping an eye on, you know,
exactly.
and
Family
especially,
sees that.
yeah, especially, if you've been really close to, your daughter or your son or your brother or sister, whoever's in this relationship, then all of a sudden you start seeing these changes. And they can be gradual changes, or some of them can be, a lot quicker. But
Super dramatic. Sometimes they quit the contact. They don't call you anymore. They forget that you're a parent or a sibling because the perpetrator is already controlling them in such a way that they say, I'd rather avoid a problem. So you lose total contact.
yeah. So, Heather, what's one that you, oh, can't hear you. Heather, you're muted.
There's there's another one, blames others. The abuser
Yeah.
usually doesn't take responsibilities for their problems. They blame others. Usually they'll blame the victim for
Mm-hmm.
almost everything. You made me mad. You caused this. I
Yeah.
wouldn't have done this, but you were the one that. So that's the
Mm-hmm.
blame.
Well, and
Yeah.
outsiders could they see that as well. Have you ever
Right.
been in a grocery store or something and overheard this kind of
Mm-hmm.
situation,
Yeah, because these are
or
what
church or at the
outsiders can
doctor's
see.
office or
Mm-hmm.
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 And
All right, what you got, Heather?
Go ahead, Lily.
an outsider can also see usually when there's cruelty to animals or to children.
Yeah.
If you see someone that is being cruel to an animal, that says a lot about a person in a
Mhm.
relationship too.
Yeah. And I think a lot of these that we're talking about, like you all said, not just sexual abuse, but in
I'm going to kill you.
a lot of any type of abuse, you may see some of these signs. But I think with sexual abuse, one of the things is not wanting to take a shower or not wanting to bathe.
Mm-hmm.
What
And
about
again, we're not talking about like, yeah, don't want to change their clothes, don't want to bathe, you know, and that's not, kids go through stages or adults go through, it's a definite problem. It's not just oh, I don't feel like taking a shower.
right? Well,
Um,
and when we say that, I mean, yes, we're again not saying that just because somebody doesn't want to take a shower that they're being abused, because things like taking a shower and changing clothing can also link to depression, but and mental
right,
health.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Think that you're going to start seeing increased mental health issues in somebody that's
right.
being, sexually abused in a relationship, and even physically abused, emotionally abused.
Yeah. Um,
But that is a
some of it
good
too
one.
can,
A huge risk.
yeah,
Sorry,
yeah.
there's a delay.
And an outsider can
Mhm.
see the mood swings too in a person. Sometimes it's a friendship or just someone in a restaurant or something, and you're seeing the interaction with that person. An outsider can observe that
Mhm.
one moment they're charming, and then the next moment it's like a flick of a finger. Now they're fighting, and you say, "Whoa, that's not good."
Mhm.
Yeah.
I really just think it's overall just behavior changes, behavior that you wouldn't normally see in that person.
Mm-hmm.
Or avoiding specific people, avoiding specific places, not wanting to be around, people they used to want to be around. Um, um,
I think
Now,
you also would see body language. You're talking about behavior changes, and I think body language is a big thing in that too.
right.
What I've worked with victims of domestic violence and sexual violence, and there's a lack of eye contact. They don't, you know, they're made to feel shame and guilt. And, I,
mhm.
you start seeing that in their, maybe they pull away, or they're closed up. I mean, and I believe even lack of affection can go in there. I mean, you don't want to be touched by anybody, anything,
Yeah.
not cases, but that's what I've seen in some of my actions with victims.
And what
So
do you think
what?
that we should do for if we
Mhm.
see it? Let's say that now you suspect someone is in a domestic violence situation. What are some of the things that we should be doing to assist?
Heather, I'm gonna let you take it.
Well, are we talking domestic violence totally, or just sexual violence, or which way?
Let's
Both, both.
All of it.
go with all of it. So
Okay. Um, well, I mean, if someone confides in you or it's happening, I mean, you want to support that person. You don't ask them why they didn't fight back. Um, the goal is to validate what they're saying to you, to encourage them to get help, because safety is number one. First, are they safe? Are they in a safe space?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and you want to, of course, if they've come to you, or if they've come to you, then you want to be there supportive with them. You want to encourage them to report it. You want to encourage them to go to the hospital, and be there. If it's somebody who hasn't told anybody, but they need to get to safety first. But um, there's hotlines, friends, find a support system, because as anybody who knows or knows somebody that has gone through this and has had to report this and has gone to the hospital and been through the whole process, it is not a fun process. Um, it is not. It's hard. It's hard for somebody. You want to encourage them not to take a shower, and of course, the first thing you want to do is to wash all that off of you, and just clean up, but just remembering that not everybody reacts to sexual abuse or sexual assault. And of course, in this case, I'm talking, like rape, assault, not the verbal side of it, obviously, but of course, you
Right.
do want to get to a safe place. I don't know. Y'all jump in here. I just lost my train of thought.
Well, assist them with getting legal help if necessary, with
Yeah.
orders of protection or restraining orders, or to change their phone numbers, their current phone numbers, so that they don't have access to them. Provide them in with resources in the
Yeah.
area that they find themselves in, because sometimes they don't know where to go or what to do.
No.
They're in this now trauma, and all of a sudden it's never happened to me, and now what do? They don't know where to go or who to call or what to do.
Yeah.
What would you say to somebody, or what if they have confided in you that this has happened, but they absolutely say, I'm not leaving. I'm not going to report it. I'm not leaving. What would you do? What would your advice
Be
Well,
supportive. And Lily, go ahead. You go with this one.
I was going to say that the people are the best experts in their own lives. We
Yes.
can't get into their life. That's me saying this. And we have to know that what's best for them, but we can't force it. So we have
No.
to say, you'll know when you're ready.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, I
Here's
think
my number. You can call me or reach out to me whenever you're ready, and
Mhm.
I'll be more than happy.
right. And that's what I started to say. I think the best piece of advice I could give is be there, be supportive. You may not understand
Mhm.
why they're ready to leave, why they're not wanting to, but also provide them with the knowledge that you will be there if they need you. Not to
Yeah.
mention provide resources such as, you know, they need to know automatically, and I stress this with every live, and I'm going to do it again. If you're in a domestic violence situation, like Heather said a while ago, the number one priority is your safety. So if
Yeah.
you're in an emergency situation, you call 911 and get out of there.
Mhm.
If not, if it's not emergent, then reach out to the National Domestic Violence Hotline, and that number is up right now. But there's also local resources. And again, Lily and Daniel with a Safe Harbor Home are there to help victims of domestic violence, whether it be
Mhm.
in the 8 counties they serve or not. They can still answer a phone call and will. And that number, Lily,
Yep.
is
423-218-0774.
and your email address isn't, or your website. No, that's your email address, Valerie.
Email address is info@asafeharborhome.org. We cover all the
Yep. And you
northeast
can also
part
see their
of
services
Tennessee.
at a.
Mhm.
So sorry, Heather. I just wanted to kind of throw those numbers in there while I had the chance. Go
No, you're
ahead
good.
and where were you going to
No, you all covered it
not
all. I think
ready?
we're good. I think we're good. You all covered it all.
So I think that the sexual violence in a relationship, in thoughts. No, I'm not in any way, shape, fashion, or form. So I'm not on the side of a victim. But I think this would probably be one of the harder of the types of violence in a relationship to
Mhm.
cope with, deal with. And, again, like I always encourage people, Lily and Daniel encourage people, and I know Heather will encourage people. You're going to have a lot of feelings through this. And there
Mhm.
are, once you are safe and you have to processing what has happened, it's important to seek out someone to help you process those emotions. Would
Yeah.
Yes.
agree, Heather.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Counseling, somebody who understands and can help you through that. Definitely trauma counselors, PTSD counselors, somebody who specializes in that area is definitely, I would recommend it.
Yeah. What about you, Lily? What's your thoughts?
I agree. Counseling is the number one. Um, First of all, 911.
Right. Safety
Counseling.
first.
Yes, definitely. Make sure that they're in a safe environment, but you can't overcome on your own. You need help. And the best place to find that help is with professionals,
Mm-hmm.
because we as friends or we as acquaintance don't have the tools that
Right.
they really need as a counselor that is trained for those things. Counselors sometimes are not victims
And
themselves, but they're trained for them.
Yes.
and Heather did mention, somebody that is trained in trauma. And luckily, our mental health system is going more towards
Yes.
trauma informed care, client centered, client based, dealing with past traumas. And that is definitely a shift in the right direction. So, what are y'all's final thoughts? Are we ready to wrap this up tonight?
I think so.
All right,
Lily, final thoughts?
Lily, final thoughts.
Um, don't be afraid to make that call. Don't be afraid to say, I'm tired of this and I want to move forward. I want my life to change. There is help. Extend yourself, give that call, and we'll put you on the right path with the right resources and with the right help that you need.
Yeah. Heather, what's your thoughts?
I don't know. I don't know if I can do any more than what she said right there was just probably the best wrap up. But, if it's not what you want, if it's not something that you're okay with, then it's not okay. No matter what anybody tries to convince you otherwise, no matter what anybody says, if you're not okay with it, then it's not okay. And, get yourself to safety. And like Lily said, reach out.
All right. And my final thoughts are, again, no means no. If you say no before, if you say during, no means no. No one has a right to take something you're not ready and willing and wanting to give. You can be sexually abused in a marriage. You can be sexually abused in an engagement. You can be sexually abused, in a dating relationship, a friendship.
Yeah.
No means no. No one has a right
Exactly.
to take that.
Yep.
And the number for the domestic violence hotline as roll, or it's been down there. We got the number for a safe harbor home right now. And we appreciate everyone being here tonight. If you are watching this on the replay, please interact with this video, help it reach people. There are people that need to hear the information. So just please like and share the page, check out the YouTube channel. All of it's under the name Safe Harbor. So next
Thank
week, we
you.
will not have next Thursday. We will be recording earlier in the week, but there will be a show up on Thursday night. It just will not be a live show. And I think we decided this week's topic is going to be financial abuse,
Financial.
which
Mm-hmm.
is real. And, you're going to get some great information. So that's all I got, y'all.
All
Did I
right.
See you
miss?
next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.